You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So last night's what I call a very high heart rate game for multiple reasons. It was very subdued heart rate for me. Not that I'm talking about my actual health here, but when they were down 18, talking about A&M basketball, obviously, my body started preparing for, I guess it's time to start getting ready for bed, kind of mindset, right?
Okay.
Then they start playing, they were always playing defense, but playing even better defense. You're getting stops, and you're not going basket for basket. You're getting stops. You're cutting down that lead. Heart rate starts going up. So heart rate starts going up. Then you take the lead. And I'm like, holy mother of life. All right?
Yeah.
Then they take the lead. And now I'm angry. And now I'm going to be awake for days. Then they win on a beautiful Zurich Phelps 3, right? Breaking ankles on fools, right? Now I'm excited. Now I have to watch post-game coverage. And then, like most of us, probably got to sleep at 11. Oh, you probably went to bed at midnight. 1? You had it right.
Somewhere between 12 and 1.
You woke up at 4, knowing you.
Actually, I did.
Yeah, that's how you roll.
That's unfortunately.
And I am happy to get less sleep tonight because of that performance from the entire team. Zurich Phelps obviously gets the biggest accolades.
Absolutely.
But wow.
Zurich Phelps was like Jim Phelps last night. Does that mean anything to you?
No, I just acted like I did.
I didn't think it did. Jim Phelps.
Jimmy Phelps. They call
Jim
him Jimmy.
Phelps. He's the guy from Mission Impossible when they say, do you accept this mission? And the mission was to bring A&M back from an 18-point lead. He says, yeah, I'll accept the mission. And Oklahoma, not the tape, it was Oklahoma that self-destructed.
Yeah, it was so beautiful to watch. And I was telling you, when they were down just 9 at the half, I thought to myself, this is easy peasy for A&M because you got a guy, Goodine, who didn't miss. And I think he had 12 combined points in the 3 games leading up to that game. He hit 6 threes in the first half.
In the first half.
Okay. I'm like, that can't continue. You did remind me that Oklahoma was even more efficient in the second half, hitting threes, but it wasn't like ungodly, like 3.
They had 5 of 8 from 3-point range in the second half. But what A&M did, beyond, Zurich Phelps just taking his game into a stratospheric level.
Right.
But what they did was, they got playing better on the defensive end, and they started forcing turnovers. I think it was 10 or 11 turnovers they forced in the second half, which became 24 points. Overall in the game, A&M scored 30 points off turnovers, but 24 of those came in the second half. So you had Zurich Phelps going crazy on the offensive end. You had the defense forcing turnovers that were becoming turned into points, and it was like the building blocks of coming back from this, out of this huge hole. And it's amazing that they could. And it just makes you look at this whole thing and say, what is this team capable of? You were playing without Wade Taylor.
Yeah.
You were playing on the road against a ranked opponent that has some really good wins, like, beating Michigan and some other teams like Louisville, Arizona, beating all those teams. You beat them at their place without your best player when one of their complimentary players is having a career night at this level.
Complimentary, not best player. As a team, they shot 58% from 3, and they shot a lot of threes. 58%.
They shot a higher percentage from 3-point range than they did from the field.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's incredible.
Pat Bradley on the SEC Network after the game was kind of going through what his leading into the game road recipe.
Okay.
So let's kind of go through it. Don't turn the ball over. Well, OU had 18. They averaged 11. So 7 more than they normally do. Okay. A&M in that game had 13 steals while Oklahoma had 3. Okay. Offensive rebounds. We know A&M's great at that.
Yeah.
They out-rebounded them offensively 17-8.
Right.
They won the battle of free throws. 17. They hit 17 of their 22, while Oklahoma had hit 14 of their 17. Points in the paint. They just demolished them, 36-20 in that one. So That's a road. This is by the way, this is recipes how A&M wins games anyway. But they had less turnovers. They had significantly more steals. They had more offensive rebounds. They had more free throws, more points in the paint. The difference was that Oklahoma hit how many threes in the game? 14.
14, yeah.
14 three-pointers.
42 points from three-point range. And you still won. After the game, Buzz Williams said, if you look at that and you give up 42 points from three-point range, you give up 14 three-pointers, and they shoot what the percentage that they did, usually you're looking at it and say, okay, we lost this one by 30. Kind of like Tennessee the other night. I don't know what the three-point score is, but, you get blown out like that. And you won on the road.
I want you to think about this, too. I believe Buzz brought it up on the press conference yesterday. They scored 42 points, okay, which is ungodly number from three, right?
Oh, yeah.
But their percentage was higher than that. When your percentage, now it's one thing to hit 50 to 60% when you're shooting 5 or 6 threes. Is another thing when you make 14 threes and you're shooting at that percentage.
Well, 33.3% is a very acceptable percentage at three-point range. That's really the equivalent of 50%, from the field, from two-point range. And they shot, what did we say, 58%?
58%.
I mean, that's unworldly.
And I will say this, that is part of A&M's philosophy. You see guys often, I hate to say this, having career nights from three against A&M. And maybe not often, but it happens because the way they play defense is they want to force it out of their playmakers' hands and somebody shooting the three that shouldn't beat you.
But it's supposed to be a contested three.
So, and
a
some
lot
of them were not. Yeah. Some of them, they were just a half second late getting back to.
Oklahoma did a great job of moving the ball around and making the extra pass to the guy that was open. But, you were talking about the free throws. Actually, it seemed like free throws, and guys like Pharrell Payne who don't shoot a high percentage was making them, kept A&M in the game in the first half. Because you were talking about when it got down to 39-30, they cut it under 10. You're thinking, all right, they were in a reasonable. I'm not saying they're in a good position, but they were in a reasonable position. And free throws was a big part of that.
So you look at Goodine's first half, and you're like, man, that's a career first half for anybody. And then Phelps basically does that in the second half. Better. Was it 28 points in the second half?
28. Yeah.
And none bigger than the last three.
No, of course not. No.
But you needed those other ones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, again, you had to come back from 18 down. Well, I don't know. It must be something about going to Oklahoma that brings out the best in A&M's ability to come back from. Because I was having thoughts. Look, they probably had as good, if not a better rally, like maybe Iowa State last year. I'd have to go back and look. They really came from behind. I don't know if it was this dramatic, and it definitely wasn't on the opponent's home court, but it was making me think, definitely not on the same scale, but in the neighborhood, the fringes of the neighborhood. It was bringing back thoughts of Oklahoma City back in 2016 when they were down 12 with 32 seconds to go and came back and won.
Look, phenomenal performance, phenomenal grit. Let's hear from Buzz Williams last night after the game. Kind of, tipping the cap to Oklahoma because he said Oklahoma went at them and it was all game long, and then A&M being resilient.
In many respects, they beat us from start to finish. And I don't know that you can give up 42 points from three with the three-point field goal percentage being higher than the overall percentage and it not be 51-33. Actually, I would say that should be the line, 51-33, because it was everything that we were trying, they were taking advantage of and having near-perfect success. But I do think that the character of our guys and the relationships that they have with one another, I thought that they just kind of hung around. I don't think that they ever dropped their head, so to say. I thought they were very accountable to one another and to what we're trying to do, and we're very fortunate to win.
Fortunate, earned it. Both things can be true.
Yeah. A&M made the plays, and when you come back like that, you go back, and there's going to be times when the opponent opened the door a little bit for you. And that happened. There was, again, I talked about the turnovers. Now, A&M was forced them, but some of them, a few were unforced, and A&M took advantage. That's what you have to do. And then, missing a key free throw.
That was huge.
Oh, absolutely. So when they miss it, and then at the end, they had I don't want to say a great shot, but they had a reasonable look to try to tie.
You talking about the last play of the game?
No, not the last play.
Okay, I was
of the
going to
game.
say, no.
Before that.
Yeah, before that, yeah.
The shot that Andy got fouled on the rebound when the guy, I don't know what that guy was thinking.
Well, I think that's the beauty of Andy, is that he'll either beat you getting the rebound or he'll put himself in a position where you have to physically assault him to get to the ball. And that's what happened on that play.
If you didn't see it, I think the guy's name's Godwin, and big post, and he's boxed out by Andy.
Yep.
And he's trying to get the rebound of a shot. It's kind of along the baseline, not really, but near the baseline, near the corner, somewhere in that area, and he misses it, and he needs to get the put back, and he literally grabs Andy like from behind around his shoulder, around his chest, and throws him to the floor. Well, it's the easiest call ever. So it was that shot that they missed, and A&M was able to prevent OU from getting the rebound and close out the win.
Godwin gets no win. You're listening to the TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studios. The Go Hour presented by?
The Go Hour.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's presented by, CC Creations.
Yeah,
the Go Hour itself.
Yeah,
the warehouse.
Yeah. I sometimes do forget this, and I just need a little reminder. This actual little room right here that we're in. This is actually a big room.
Yeah, this is the Rollo Insurance Studio.
That's correct. But this particular section of the room is like the attic of the room. So it's the basement. It's a nice basement. It's where you go, like if there's stuff going on.
This is the wing.
The wing. There you go. I like that better.
Yeah.
The loft.
The loft. Actually, it's just the cool zone.
It's so cool.
It's a cool. Everything's cool after last night, but this is especially a cool zone because it's holistic planning, which can help you with your investments, your taxes coming up sooner than we'd like, and estate planning.
Yep.
But the big thing is the investments. You know why?
Because you can invest in pro sports.
Pro sports.
Investinprosports.com. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, talk to us about this basketball team. 979-693-1150. We will pick it up on the Boss Firearms Hotline. You can text that number as well. We go around the room. We say hi to the people. We go behind the glass. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, y'all. How's it going?
Good, buddy. How was that game for you?
It was, just like everybody else, first half a little frustrating, but once they went into halftime, I was talking to Cade about this just a second ago, but once they went into halftime with the 9-point deficit, I believe it was, I was like, okay, like it could have, they could have gone into the locker room a lot worse than that. So the fact that they pulled it a little bit closer had me feeling pretty good. Then I was like, well, there's no way that guy's going to come out and shoot just as good as he did, and he did. But they still found a way to win, and again, you did it all without Wade Taylor, and that just sets up a huge matchup this Saturday. So really, really excited to see them pull that comeback off.
Nick, did the Breakfast Club meet this morning?
No, that's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing.
Okay, you guys worked it out, because if not, it would have been a very early morning for team workout. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Callie Gardner, your streak, your Cal Ripken, you know the Cal Ripken streak? You know what I mean when I say that?
You know, right, Cal Ripken.
Yeah, I think so.
Really? You think so?
I don't think she knows.
I've heard of it.
Don't worry.
Him.
Yeah, it's an it. It's an it. No. Cal Ripken, how would you describe Cal Ripken?
The Iron Man.
The Iron Man, but he had the most consecutive games in baseball. I don't remember the number, but it was ridiculous.
A lot.
He passed, was it Lou Gehrig?
Lou Gehrig.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most consecutive games ever. You ever heard of Camden Fields or Camden Yards? He played for the Orioles back in the day.
You ever heard of the Orioles?
I've heard of the Orioles.
She watches baseball. That we do know.
2,632 consecutive games.
2,632 games.
That's
nonstop.
Mine's
No
not
load
that
management back in
legendary.
our day. Sorry.
What?
Sorry. You know what load management is, right?
No.
LeBron every 3 days or whoever. Oh, I got to take a little break. I played too many games. I don't know
Cade's getting angry back here, David.
Who is?
Relax. Cade, he's getting angry.
Is he a big LeBron guy?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't like.
All players today, like, they don't make them like they used to, OB.
No, they don't.
Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley would party till 4 a.m., cigars and who knows what else, and they would score 40 the next night.
Well, Michael Jordan played with the flu.
He did. Well, later it became
He was sick.
they gave him food poisoning.
Okay, well, food poisoning may be worse.
Yeah.
Because I've had it. Oh, my God, I thought I was dying. But, LeBron gets I got a Charlie horse. I can't play for. Remember LeBron set that record and then stopped playing that season?
Oh,
that told me everything.
But I will say this. The guy's still elite at 40. He's doing something right. He's definitely one of the 3 best players we've ever seen.
Couldn't beat the Mavericks the other night, though, without Luka or Irving.
And he couldn't beat the Mavericks in 2011 when he was making fun of Dirk for having the flu. Remember that?
Yeah. And Dirk played?
Dirk always played. That's my guy. All right, Callie, we were talking Aggie Athletics at one point, and then we started talking Camden Yards and Cal Ripken, and now we're back to you.
Okay. The Texas A&M men's tennis team opened their spring season at the Sun Devil preseason invitational at Arizona State this week. They started the tournament with 3 single wins on Monday and Tuesday. They went 6-2 in singles and 3-1 in doubles. And the invitational continues today and will wrap up tomorrow. Along the tennis lines, the women's tennis team finished up their first day of their Foundation Invitational that they're at right now with a 9-1 record. I think they're in Hawaii, I'm pretty sure. And their only loss was in a close battle in a doubles match, while they're 7-0 in singles, and their invitational continues with doubles today. And then along the men's basketball team, they defeated 17 Oklahoma last night on the road with an outstanding performance from Zurich Phelps. He had 34 points. He made 6 3-pointers. He had 5 rebounds and 3 steals. And in the last 15 years, there was only one other Division I player to reach all of those numbers against an AP Top 25 opponent. And do y'all know who it was?
No.
I don't.
Anthony Edwards.
Oh,
in the Maui Invitational in 2019. So,
how many turnovers did Zurich Phelps have?
How many turnovers did he have?
Yeah, did he commit?
He committed 1, 2.
It was 2.
2.
All that from a guy moving into the point guard role. Played all that. I don't know how many minutes he played. It seemed like he's on the floor the whole game.
They took him out with at one point.
33.
33 minutes
of the 40.
At point guard. All that production. 2. Count them. 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
What does he call him? Zoo? Is that what they call him? Zoo.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're in the circle of trust to call him Zoo.
Well, call him whatever.
And
you
only
want.
committing one foul.
That.
1 foul. Huh. Playing great defense. Thank you, Kalita. Appreciate you.
Aggies need to be saying, we bought a zoo.
We bought a zoo. OB, so did you listen to my advice yesterday?
Probably not.
I told you to pick the more than with Zurich Phelps.
More than.
Remember when I told you that?
Yes, you did.
I said more than. And
Yeah.
you said, and I think I would have been wrong on my Pharrell Payne. I think I had 12 and 6. I would have gone more than.
And he had 10?
He had 10 and 2, I believe. Or maybe
I do remember saying I would take the points more than the rebounds.
Yeah. So, but you could have still made some money. You know how you make that money?
How do you make it?
PrizePicks.com/TexAgs.
PrizePicks, yeah.
Use the code TexAgs. You get $50 once you play $5 lineups. You pick 2 to 6 player stat projections. So we've got probably NBA tonight. I'm sure we got some college basketball. We got the college football playoffs tomorrow.
Tonight.
Yeah,
Tonight.
Penn State and Notre Dame
That's
play
right.
tonight.
That's right. So we have the Thursday, Friday games. So make some money by going to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. Get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. It is PrizePicks.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggieland Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Lucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggieland Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggieland Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggielandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Lucci sent you by.
Welcome back in. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Today is Thursday, January 9th, 2025.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little shout out to my little girl, Isla Nuño, today.
It's her birthday.
12 years old.
Hey, happy birthday, Isla.
The biggest Jace Carter fan
Then you got a
in the
teenager
country.
next year.
I do.
All teenagers next
All
year.
teenagers. Next year, I'll have twins as seniors in high school, which is weird. Annalise will be in high school, and Isla will be 13.
Yeah, your trouble's just starting.
Bro, the girls are hard. Like, the boys are easy.
Yeah.
The girls are just hard. You
Yeah, I
got
know.
drama and, like, so-and-so said this, and oh, my God. Like, just punch them and move on. That's what I tell the kids.
That great fatherly advice.
No.
Punch them and move on.
Do you know what my
David
advice?
Nuño.
Hey, this is my real advice. This is
That should be on a T-shirt.
move on.
Nuño. Punch them and move on.
Hey, this is the real advice I give my children. Use your words. Tell if
Kick
someone
them and move on.
no. Use your words. Tell a teacher. If it continues, some kind of bullying, mean stuff, take care of business. Whatever that take care of business means
It
to
means
you.
punch them and move on.
They might. Not that I punched anybody, but that's my philosophy.
You've moved on. Let's move on.
Look, that one time I punched you was on accident. All right.
When was that? I guess I moved on.
You're getting old. Let's listen to Buzz Williams talking about Wade Taylor and what he means to this team, because yesterday they had to distribute the wealth, right? And yes, Zurich Phelps took a lot of that load, but it couldn't just be Zurich Phelps. So here's Buzz on playing without Wade.
You could argue that Ford may be one of the better players ever to have played at Texas A&M, not just on this year's team. Statistically speaking, you could say that he may be the best player. And there's been a lot of really good players. And the game before Christmas was the first time that Ford has ever missed a game, including the 2 practices prior to. The same thing happened, I guess it would be Monday, Tuesday, entering today. He carries a lot for our team. He's incredibly gifted, but his IQ level as a player is probably at the same level or better than his talent. And so not only did we miss his talent, we also missed his IQ. And I think as best we could, I thought our staff did a really good job of dispersing that burden and not putting it on one guy.
That's what they did? You have a smile on your face.
No, I'm just thinking how amazing for them to get that win the way they did, again, without Wade. I mean, Wade is a spectacular basketball player. And if anybody on that roster that I would think would explode for 34 points, it'd be Wade Taylor.
It'd be Wade.
And to have somebody else be able to come in and play to that level when you don't have Wade, it just makes you think, what can these guys be when they're playing well, when everybody's healthy, when they get Wade back and they're all playing well?
Well, don't kill the messenger. Please don't kill the messenger, all right?
Okay.
And I'm talking to you folks, all right? Don't kill me for reading you something that somebody who is an expert said.
Okay.
Are you familiar with John Rothstein?
I am.
All right? CBS and other places, right? He always tweets about Buzz Williams. He likes Buzz, right? He says, Texas A&M is a dark horse Final Four team. Aggies aren't getting the same attention as other teams at the top of the SEC, but are clearly in the same weight class on a neutral court.
Why would I kill you from
I
bringing
didn't think
that
you
message?
would, but people don't want to receive.
Oh, they don't want to hear
jinx
that?
us, bro.
Oh, jinx. Okay. I
Don't
got you.
read it, man, because when you read it, bad things happen, which is somewhat true. I mean, they're not wrong. But I'm not saying it out loud. I might. I mean, we all secretly wish that. And we've all said that they're the type of team that is built to do it in the old-fashioned way. When I say the old-fashioned way, like veteran-laced team that just play. They're the kind of basketball team. There's a lot of people who don't like basketball anymore, like the NBA. They don't like three-point shooting only and this. I don't even know if you want to call it. I liked the Detroit Pistons style of basketball during 2 eras: the Bad Boys era,
Yeah, that was fun.
the the Rip Hamilton era
Yeah.
with Ben Wallace. I love that. Right? I'm
Tough
not.
basketball.
right? I love tough basketball, gritty basketball, and this is the kind of team. If you're not necessarily into basketball that it is today, this is a team that wins the old-fashioned way, and the guys have been here for a minute. That's why a team with maybe not as talented as the Kentuckys of the world, maybe not as talented, maybe not as five-star-ish, if you will, could have some people think, hey, this team is dark horse for the Final Four.
Yeah, that's nice and everything. I think, and I bet you this is Buzz and that team, the way they approach it, I don't even think they're even.
No, they don't care.
They don't care. But in my seat here, I'm just saying, look, I don't even want to hear about Final Four. You got to get past Alabama on 100%. Saturday, but you'll get to the tournament and just let's see if you can get to the second weekend, and then the second weekend, which would be a step greater. And all you got to do that, just be yourself and punch and move on.
Punch and move on.
Punch and move on.
We should try that.
It works for everything. We should put it on a T-shirt.
Punch and move on. Can you get the design ready, Kelly, for that T-shirt? Mm-hmm. Punch and move on. Mm-hmm. I'm curious. Text the show 979-693-1150. If we made a shirt that said punch.
Look at the camera and do this. You.
Not right.
Come on. Look at the camera. Give your best. No, you got it. I need the.
It's coming. I got to get into character, bro. I can't just.
Okay. Oh, I need the fist.
You need to punch and move on.
Well, see, again, you're just flexing. I want to see the punch and move on. And we can get that picture and put that on a T-shirt and on the back, punch and move on.
If I were watching this, I would make fun of me.
I probably would. That's the idea, David.
Oh, me? Do I amuse you?
Yes.
Like a clown?
Yeah, like.
You know what?
You're going to have me whack now?
Your version of whack and mine are different. All right. 1775. I'm not inviting you now.
Okay.
You can go, but you have your own table. I get my own table.
That's fine, because you can go to 1775 and sit alone, and you will meet people.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, everybody wants to be there to sample this amazing Texas barbecue.
Right.
And you're in a good mood. And like last time I was there, I talking to people. I talked to a guy that was from New York as a trucker that happened to be in town, and all these things. So you can't meet a stranger. You can't be a stranger at 1775. But even better than that, you can't be a hungry stranger, because you're going to have some of the best barbecue in your life.
And when you go to 1775, you don't punch and move on. You punch and break bread.
You punch and break bread. Yes, you do. I don't even know if you punch.
Yeah, you hug. You're a big hugger. You love hugging people.
I love hugging that brisket, and I love hugging those pork ribs. I don't know if you can hug the queso mac and cheese, but if you could, I'd hug it.
They're open Thursday through Saturday. Today's Thursday. Online ordering turns off at 10 a.m. That's in a little bit.
Yeah.
8203 Raymond Saucer Parkway in College Station, 979-492-6241. It's 1775txbbq.com.
I don't know.
I think you should listen to this dude.
It sounds
Very
good to me.
popular on social
It
media right
sounds good
now,
to me right now.
especially with the ladies. What are you talking about, Callie? Isn't that a big Zach Bryan fan?
Oh, that's Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan's great at music. And I'm not necessarily believing all the stuff I've read on social media about him. Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm not letting it affect my musical taste.
I've heard of him because there's this controversy with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
and all
that's what I was
that.
talking about, yeah.
And I've had psycho girlfriends in my life.
Yeah, but
too.
you haven't done what apparently he did.
What'd he do? I know he
don't
tried to give her a lot of money not to say anything.
Yeah, well,
Somebody offered me some money not to say something.
I'm
Even
just,
I would say, okay, yes, I'll
at
take
the
it.
break, we can discuss maybe one of the things that he gave her. We go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. We talk to our QB1, Stephen McGee, here on TexAgs Live from Paragon Financial. Stephen, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Do you know the
I'm
backstory?
surprised you're not a Zach Bryan fan.
What's that?
I'm surprised OB's not a Zach Bryan fan.
I have to admit, I don't listen to as much current country music. When I get into the truck, I still turn on if I'm listening to country music, so old, old outlaw country.
Right.
Waylon Jennings, Johnny Paycheck, those kind of guys. Take this job and shove it.
OB, I know the world wants to know what's on your playlist right now. If you go turn your car on, what's the first song that's going to come on?
The first song that's going to come
George
on.
Strait.
George Strait, Brooks and Dunn, or Tom Petty, or Jimmy Buffett.
You're not
somebody that's probably not alive now.
You're not into bro country.
Not really. Even though I'll acknowledge I hear some things that are pretty good. You had something on earlier this week. I thought that sounds good. I couldn't tell you what it was.
Ryan Bingham.
How about
Maybe.
Zach Top? Do y'all like Zach Top?
Zach Top?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a no.
I don't know it.
I don't know who it is
Not
either.
familiar.
I'm going to listen
Hey,
to
all
it.
right.
Y'all
How
would.
about Matchbox 20? Going back a little bit.
Isn't that
Y'all
guy
like
from
Matchbox
the what's it called? What's that TV show called? The Voice? Isn't that guy from The Voice?
Who, Zach
No.
Top?
No,
Matchbox 20?
isn't that
No,
that's
you're thinking
not-
of
I'm
Sugar
thinking
Ray.
Maroon 5.
Right. Oh, you're thinking of Adam Levine.
Yeah, I knew it was something with a number in it.
Close. They're all
Jackson
the same.
5.
Close enough.
Stephen, so Noah Thomas goes to Georgia. Big loss. I like Noah a lot. I think he could have done some big things with Marcel and company next year. But regardless, and it is a big loss, I think he was going to have a lot of targets this year. You have significantly upgraded your wide receiver room on paper, at least.
Yeah, on paper, right? And I think that's as all Aggie fans are aware at this point of the, Aggie cycle, if you want to call it, that, we've seen these receivers come in before and have a lot of hype and just not a lot of substance. So, there's still a lot to be seen from this group, but certainly, if you think about it as an aggregate unit last year, I don't know where you'd rank that wide receiver group, but it's certainly be at near the bottom of the last decade or 2 decades.
I think that I don't know what receivers have come in with a lot of hype, just because I forget. And I mean through the transfer portal. But I know that there were guys come in. There may be some, I just forget. But I'll say this: at least these guys that are coming in have been productive at the Division I level. And I saw Mario Craver myself this year against Mississippi State. Was very impressed with him. I know he's a freshman. He got off to a slow start. And Casey Concepcion, there's no doubt about him. Haven't seen Micah Hudson. Now, he comes in. I know he played some at Texas Tech, but he comes in with the potential from being a 5-star guy, all those things. I felt like that Noah Thomas would have been a great piece to the puzzle next year. However, even without him, and this is not a shot at Noah because I wish he would stay, but without him, I think A&M's receiving core is better. The receiving room is better than it was last year, even with Noah. Because
I agree. Yeah. To Dave's point, I think on paper, it's a better unit day one, hopefully. And look, I like Noah Thomas too. But if you wanted my honest opinion, and I think he's like a mid-tier, below average SEC wide receiver. I mean, I think there's a lot of schools where he's probably the number 3 receiver, number 4 receiver. I mean, look at the one thing that I thought was lacking that I just don't think that you can sacrifice when you're recruiting wide receivers is somebody with speed. you go to that LSU wide receiver group, who's arguably had the best haul in the transfer portal, those wide receivers, I think there's like 5 or 6 guys in that wide receiver room that are 4.3 or under. They have so much speed. And you look at the schools that produce wide receivers, look at the guys going to the league. There's very few wide receivers that make it the highest level that can't run, right? Jerry Rice is like one exception, right? He's like the guy that ran a 4.6. But the modern day wide receiver, the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chases, they can all run. And, so I'm hopeful this new group is some guys that can add that speed element that really threatens the defense over the top.
I think it is. Now, I think Noah has better speed than maybe he's given credit for. But that said, I'm agreeing with you. I think he's above. I mean, I think he's a mid-tier guy on a lot of teams. I wouldn't say he's below average, but I'll say this: I think he's at best, and again, this isn't a bad thing, but at best, he's a number 2 receiver. I just don't see him being a number 1. The guy that when another team, when you're playing him, the opposition looks at Noah and says, how are we gonna deal with this guy? They think, okay, this is a good receiver and he can make plays, but we don't have to change gear our defense for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You're exactly right. I mean, this guy that had 900 yards receiving in 3 years, right? That's not a game changer.
No.
Production. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go back to guys. Obi, you said it. Production, right? And there's just not enough production. So it may not be Noah Thomas's fault, right? That could be a thing. He'd go to Georgia, be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. But what I know to be true is that Noah Thomas production in this system is lacking for whatever reason.
But you know what?
Or the system.
But Stephen, let me ask you this: is he in a better offensive system for a receiver now at Georgia than he is at A&M? I mean, Mike Bobo's they're a run first team. Now, when they have elite receivers like McConkey or their tight end Bowers, they're going to use them. But they're a run first offense, and they're going with it. And they got Mike Bobo, for goodness sakes, as offensive coordinator, that you only hear from him when he's getting fired. And then,
quarterback TBD.
Right now, I would rather have Marcel Reed as my quarterback than I've already forgotten his name.
Stockton.
That's maybe out of ignorance because I've only seen Gunnar Stockton play in that game against Notre Dame where he had some success.
Yep.
And even against Texas, it was more on him running than passing.
Right. Hey.
Yeah, it's a good point, OB. I mean, both systems, though, are going to be very much run first. And I think both systems do one thing for wide receivers that's very attractive. They attract single high defenses, and they get one-on-ones outside, which we had a lot of last year and did not exploit. And I think that's my main point is we got to get wide receivers that can make defenses pay in single high defense.
Hey, Stephen, did you see there's a lot of chatter about Quinn Ewers potentially going to Notre Dame next season, which means A&M would play them early. And he was asked about all these rumors about where he's going. He goes, right now, I'm just, I'm not worried about all that stuff. I mean, people can say all they want, but I'm just focused on Friday at this point. Which means he didn't close the door on it. He answered it the right way.
Absolute right way to answer it.
And I think he's going to play college football again next year. What do you think, Steve?
I think he should play college football next year. I mean, he has the opportunity. Some of these guys are going to make way more money, and we're talking about Noah Thomas. I mean, these guys come back for another year, potentially get a degree, hopefully have a chance to get a master's degree. That's going to provide way more money in their future than the NFL will. And for Quinn Ewers, a guy that could potentially get $6 million, $7 million NIL for 1 year versus being a late second-round pick, maybe third-round pick, and then increase your draft stock at the right program, makes a lot of sense to me to come back.
You know what doesn't make sense to me is that you've got a quarterback at Texas and Quinn Ewers that has led you into the round of 4, 2 consecutive years, and you would think that if another program wanted to, the NFL's one thing, but if he's going to play college football next year, you would think everybody at Donor Texas said, no, if he's going to play college football next year, we're going to make sure he's going to play here. But there's this, from what I gather, there's feeling in Austin that they'd rather have Arch as their quarterback next year. You're like why?
Yeah,
Why?
it's more. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I think there's some hype there just for the name, but it reminds me of Kansas City. With Alex Smith back when he was playing at a very very high level, and they wanted to move on to this guy named Pat Mahomes. I'm not trying to say Arch Manning is Pat Mahomes by any stretch of the imagination. When he did come in and play in a game that had against a good team in meaningful snaps, he did not look good at all.
It reminds me
that.
of Texas A&M about 15 or 20 years ago when people were trying to push Reggie McNeil out the door because they were clamoring for the Stephen McGee kid to come on and take over.
And we all knew that was the wrong decision.
Hey, let's hit a break here. We'll come back. I want to do a buy, sell, lease, release. I'm adding one to it. Right now, Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square. They're your local Aggie-owned and operated specialty running store with a great selection of shoes. If you like On or Brooks or Hoka, whatever it may be, let them take care of you. If you're a runner, walker, interested in any kind of fitness, the right shoe makes all the difference. And at the Brazos Running Company, they're going to find you the right shoe that fits for you. And they'll put you through not a battery of tests, but they'll put you on a treadmill and they'll see what your gait looks like, and they'll find the right shoe for what you need. They also have Birkenstock. They have Vuori there. They are the place to go for all of your fitness needs when it comes to shoes and beyond. Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. Big Zach Top guy now.
I like ZZ Top. I don't know anything about Zach Top.
This is good.
He's just one Z. Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Got Stephen McGee, our QB1 from Paragon Financial. Let's play a little game of buy, sell, lease, release. Okay? CFP coaches left. I want you to buy the best coach. I want you to lease the next one. I want you to sell the third best, and the fourth, you're releasing him completely. And the names are Sark, Day, Franklin, Freeman. All right? Stephen, you start us off. What are you buying, selling, leasing, releasing?
Oh, man. Golly, I'm an offensive guy. I know this is not going to be a popular opinion. I like Sark. I really do. I'm going to buy him. I like his system. Not everyone agrees with me on that one. Ryan Day, I don't really know what he is. I may sell Day. I like Freeman. I think he's done a good job. I think he's a player's coach, young guy. I could see him. I'll lease him. And what's the final one?
James Franklin.
James Franklin.
For sure, releasing Franklin.
Wow.
Interesting. I'm going to buy Sarkisian. Look, where was Texas? Where were they? Where are they now? And they have a good offense. So I would, give credit where credit is due. I would buy Sarkisian. I would lease Ryan Day. His biggest transgression is he doesn't beat Michigan. Well, what were everybody saying about Jim Harbaugh when they were losing 4, 5, 6 in a row to Ohio State, and he finally got it together, and all of a sudden he was the best coach. So I think you don't want to overreact to that. You got to beat your rival, but don't overreact to it. And then the guy I would sell is Freeman, and I'll tell you why. They're having a good year. Schedule helps them. Yeah. And I know they beat Georgia. Kirby Smart helped him in that game, and they were playing backup. I don't want to take it, but here's the deal. They still lose to Northern Illinois. They still lose to Marshall. And who else? They throughout his career, and it's been brief, they've had some inexplicable losses. And James Franklin has too, but James Franklin's just been better over a longer period of time. So I'm looking at Freeman. I'm saying, you're doing a good job this year. I don't know how good because of, again, the schedule's very favorable to them, helped them out a lot. But it's only been a couple of years.
Yeah.
And you've had some really questionable losses in that time. Are you going to be able to sustain this? Are you going to be a one-hit wonder?
Hey, we got about a minute left. Something that came up in the last segment was you weren't a big fan of Mike Bobo. So here's a question from John in Cyprus. Mike Bobo versus Colin Klein. What do you guys think? He says he'd go Bobo. Bobo has been has struggled longer, and I think Colin Klein's had 1 year that is questionable, and it was this year in a new situation. I'm going to wait to see what Klein does over time. I've seen what Mike Boo does over time, and if you'll ask people from Georgia, they're trying to push him out the door. They'll help him pack.
Gosh, dang. I'm not touching that one right now. I think both teams have some things to work on and get the offensive production up. But I'll say this too: great offensive coordinators start at having great quarterbacks. If you don't have a great quarterback, it's going to be hard for you to have a great offensive coordinator. I promise you that. It's I think one leads the other. Yep, and your lead running back too, and your second getting hurt. That kind of affected the offense. Hey, guys, appreciate you very much. McGee, OB, thank you, sir.
Wasn't just this year.
All right, we'll come back on TexAgs Live. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Logan Lee is in studio. What's up, Lolo?
What's happening?
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So you're always doing great when you're here, which is great. Last night, how was your sleep affected by the awesomeness that game was, especially the way it ended?
I mean, it allowed me to go to sleep.
Did it?
It kept me up for a little while.
Yeah.
Kept me up for a little while because I was hyped, and it was looking gruesome for half a second.
Well, the interesting thing was I wasn't worried in the first half because I think teams get hot and, on the road. Like, now,
I mean, Bryson Goodine got really hot.
He got so hot that when it was 9 points at the half, I'm like, look, he's not going to shoot like that in the second half. Unfortunately, he came close to it. It wasn't as good, but he was good. It was more efficient. But A&M found a way, man. They found a way.
They found Zurich Phelps.
Yeah.
And he got super hot and led the team. He stepped in for Wade Taylor. He did what Wade Taylor would most likely have done or tried to do.
Right.
And I like the fact that he did it by creating off the dribble. He did it by knocking down threes. There was only 2 shots that you were saying, no, yes,
yeah.
yes, that was a good shot. But all the other attempts were okay. I didn't realize how many shot attempts he took. 11 of 25 is questionable at times, but he made the shots at the right times when A&M needed it, when A&M needed that comeback, when they were down by 18. He put the team on their back and did what was necessary. I love the fact that they can go on the road against the top 25 team who hadn't lost at home yet. Oklahoma was super hot as well. And without Wade Taylor, their best player, come back with a dub.
And come back from coming back. Right?
Yeah.
Like they were down 18 in the second half.
And you had a phenomenal performance by Bryson Goodine. I mean,
their fourth option maybe?
What did they say his season high this year was 12 points?
Yeah.
That's and he goes off for 34. That's something that no one sees on the scouting report. And if we have anything to critique, they probably should have face guarded him and not allowed him to catch the ball after he made his first 6.
But when somebody's hot like that, who's typically not hot like that, I know that he had scored 40 before, but do you kind of expect him just to cool down? Like when you're in a zone like that, do you expect it to happen?
No, you make him cool down. You don't let him catch the ball. What do they do to Wade Taylor the entire time?
Right.
If Wade hits 3 threes, all of a sudden, immediately, there's a timeout, and it's basically 4-on-4 because they are face guarding Wade. As soon as he passes the ball, he's not allowed to get it back. And if he does get it back, it's with 5 seconds on the shot clock, and he's already tired from running around half court for 25 seconds without the ball.
But you don't really box and one anymore. You don't like.
No, you don't. You play your defense, but the guy that is assigned to him, you just make it, and it's never a no catch.
Right.
These days, you can't stop somebody from getting the basketball, but you can make it extremely hard for them. And when they do catch, you're right up in their grill, and you make life tough for them. And even then, when teams do that to Wade, he somehow makes shots. It's going to happen. But they didn't change the defense. I wish I would have seen that to where Goodine doesn't catch the ball. They were still playing help side, scramble,
but that's
and
what they always do, right?
That's what they always do. But it almost cost them. Now, if you don't have,
it didn't.
But if you don't have the performance from Phelps, I mean, well, even from Phelps, but if you don't have the performance from Zurich, like that's it took 34 points. Bryson Goodine had 34 points. It took everything they had down to the last second. I think there was
2.5
2.9, 2.5 left.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, we still got it, huh? still got it.
So just explain in layman's terms the basketball philosophy, because they were just, when they're doubling and moving around, somebody's open, and it takes Oklahoma to make the right pass to find the open guy.
Absolutely. And I forgot the freshman's name for Oklahoma.
Not Fears.
Fears?
Yeah.
Fears. He probably could have taken 2 more dribbles up the court before throwing up that shot. And I thought that was a small microcosm of how A&M was able to win, in that A&M has veteran players that have been in situations like this that they were able to overcome. You know, that freshman for Oklahoma, he took some bad shots.
Yeah.
He forced some things. Oklahoma had 18 turnovers, 16 turnovers?
18.
18 turnovers. A&M only had 9. Let's give a round of applause for Manny. 4 assists, 0 turnovers. Didn't force up a ton of shots.
Yep.
Played the minutes that they needed him to play. But that's because of the veteran experience on this team.
Let me go through these numbers for you. OU had 18 turnovers. They averaged 11 coming into the game. Huge difference there.
Yep.
A&M out-stealed them. That's really good grammar. They stole 10 more times than Oklahoma. A&M had 13 steals. Oklahoma had 3 steals. Some other ones that I wrote down. Free throws. A&M they got into the 20s attempted, but they hit 17 to Oklahoma's 14 that they hit. Points in the paint. All A&M, 36 to 20. That's how Pat Bradley on the SEC Network called it, a recipe to win on the road. That's how you win on the road without your best player.
Oh, and by the way, they missed 34 shots, field goal attempts, and offensive rebounded 50% of the time and got 17 offensive rebounds. And that's what A&M does. That's what this program is about. That's what they're built on. Not everybody likes it. Fire it up and go get an offensive rebound. But I've talked to a handful of coaches in the past couple of weeks specifically about A&M's offense and their production. And all of them are like, man, you can't prep for it.
Right.
You can't, you don't know what's going to happen. They get the ball on the rim and then they go grab an offensive rebound. And you know that it's going to come, and you know that they send 4 to the glass. But you're spending your time on scouting report just trying to teach these kids, hey, just trying to make them understand we got to go block out, go put a body on them. So we're wasting all of that time on trying to work on rebounding when you're not prepping for individual players. You're not prepping for what happens if they get the offensive rebound. You're not prepping for, hey, how do we secure the defensive rebound and then run? It's all about get the ball, solidify it, hold on to it, make sure they're not coming to get it. And by that time, if A&M doesn't have it, they're already at half court by the time you're making your first pass to get it up the court.
Beaver on TexAgs.com says, would love to hear from Logan how a game like the one Zoo just had can impact how teams prepare for and guard him, and how they change it and our offensive approach going forward, even with Wade in the game.
Man, I think that's a great point, a great question. Now they can't spend as much time on Wade. That opens everything up for Wade. Mm-hmm. We've talked about.
Can one game really do that on the scouting report?
Yeah.
And I mean, people knew this was possible from him when he was at SMU, but not in this system.
Here's the thing. The coaches that are doing the scouting reports for other teams or in general, the scouting reports, they're paranoid about every single what if scenario.
Right.
What if Zurich goes off for 34 points? How do we stop him? Oh, by the way, then you have Wade who can go off for 34 points. How do we stop him? If both of them get hot, what happens? If Welcher comes in the game and he hits 3 threes, how do we then put a man on him? Mm-hmm. I mean, every scenario, if Pharrell Payne has a great back to the basket game and he's able to physically move players in the post like he did to Texas, like how do we double that? Do we do big on big double? Do we have guards digging down? I mean, if Solomon Washington comes in and Andy Garcia is here, like every single scenario these coaches are paranoid about. Well, they could have the game of their life, and how do we stop that? How do we stay in the game if every single player has a game of their life? So when you have a Zurich Phelps perform like this without Wade Taylor, they're like,
Right.
There's another facet that we have to defend.
So I gave you the metrics of all these things that A&M did, A&M style of basketball numbers, offensive rebound, the steals, yada, yada, yada. But yesterday, Buzz said, in many respects, they beat them from start to finish, talking about Oklahoma to A&M. And part of that was because 48 points from three and 58% shooting from the three.
Yeah. But if that happens, my question then is, what adjustments were made?
Mm-hmm.
You probably could have cut that down. And here's playing devil's advocate on that same question. If you do then face guard and not let Bryson Goodine catch it, how does that adjust the entire defensive strategy? Because they all play on a string and they're all moving in simultaneous motion. And so when you take one of those players out to then face guard, how does that change the adjustments? And maybe it changes the adjustments too much to where it would just give up open layups and threes.
Right.
And so Coach Williams knows his team better than anybody. And he obviously stuck with the game plan, and it proved to work.
So we're an hour and 12 minutes into the show. I don't think we've given Solo a lot of props, and I think he was a key player yesterday. Defensively, that big dunk that Hayden Hefner got going for them.
Huge.
And that was like, okay, that's when I was like, yeah, the A&M's going to win this game.
So what caught my eye, and it was, maybe 7 minutes left in the game, 8 minutes left in the game. A&M misses a shot. It's not a terribly long rebound, but it's a rebound outside of the paint by a guard, and they're pushing the ball up the floor. And Solo is just sprinting with the guard. Now, this is a kid that's 6'7", maybe 6'6", 6'7", and he is just running stride for stride. And as soon as they pass half court, he goes to another gear and cuts off the ball handler,
right,
and stays on him. Like that's hard to do when you're particularly a guard used to playing 94 feet of defense. But for him to literally put it in another gear, get in front of the ball handler, stop him, and then lock up. It's not like he stopped him and then ran off to go find who else he's supposed to guard. He just stayed there. This is my man now.
Right.
I got this. And that's what he does. That's what Anderson Garcia does. They can guard every position. And that enhances your team so much because most guys can't do that. And Solo that's just natural for him. It's not like Buzz was yelling at him, hey, stop the ball.
Right.
He was the closest one, and he stopped the ball. That's what this team does. And it guarantee you, Oklahoma guards were frustrated as anything to see, why is this guy running with me? Like, does he ever give up? The answer is no.
Right.
He doesn't.
It's and I mentioned Hayden there. He's playing.
Man, he's playing good.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes they're not the plays that win you games, but maybe they're not plays that like the normal fan is paying attention to, right? Like making the right pass, getting the right tip in, like finding the open. Like he is really good at that.
He's found his place on this team, and a lot of people have said, don't play him. Why are you playing him? Why is he starting? I mean, the first time he started this year, he's starting again. But as he's continued to go, he has continued to find his role and make plays for this team to help them get wins.
He's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, he's a white kid playing basketball. Nobody really says.
He is?
Nobody really says, look at that white guy's athleticism. I mean, Alex Caruso.
Right.
No one really gave him props until he goes behind the back on a fast break and then dunks on kid from Ole Miss.
Right.
He does what he's supposed to do. He does what is asked of him, and then he does it to the best of his abilities. and he has played well in the last handful of games.
What about the difference Pharrell Payne makes, even when he's not scoring 15 points, like when he's just his presence alone?
Like, Oklahoma had a ton of block shots yesterday.
Especially in the first half, my God.
The first,
it was like every play.
six blocks in the first half. And then that's unusual for them. And just because A&M didn't have as many block shots, that doesn't mean that Pharrell Payne didn't alter some shots. Pharrell Payne's he's a big body in the paint, and he's got a 40-inch vertical. Like he is altering shots. And if he's not altering shots, at least he's a presence in the paint, and he slows guards down and makes them think, do I want to go in there or do I want to pull up? Do I want to kick it out? Like that's what happens when you come off a ball screen and you've got the paint open up until 8 feet, because then Pharrell Payne is there. Okay, am I going all the way? Or these days there's no one really pulls up mid-range, so it's I'm not going all the way. I'm gonna have to kick it out.
It's interesting because I want them to win Alabama game at home. I think they might, but like this start makes me like breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Like because if Wade's not back by Bama, and I don't know if he is or not, like, if he's not back, if you split against these next two, if you win both, if you lose both, you're still kind of in a, you're taking on I think if you look at the schedule, the hardest part of the schedule, if you can show me is right now. Right? It's all hard.
I mean, I don't.
It's all hard, but right now, 17, 5, and 6.
I mean, but then you also have Arkansas. Then you have 14, number 1. Vandy,
that might be
number 8, number 2
yeah, the whole
at
thing
LSU. Like that's
sucks.
how they end conference.
Yeah,
that's tough. I will say this: I was worried about Texas, not because of how good they are, but because that's a rivalry game, and anything can happen in a rivalry game, no matter if A&M has a number in front of their name or not. Then I was worried about Oklahoma because that's a road game, and I think I saw a stat before conference play started. The SEC was something like 132-2 on their home court, on everybody's home court.
But Callie just told me what they went 0-5 yesterday. The home teams
0-3.
0-3. Sorry,
that's what conference is.
Yeah,
but that was worrisome. Texas because it's a rivalry game, Oklahoma because it's a road game, and then you have Alabama
and
Kentucky,
which
are 5 and 6, right?
Are they the second and third best team A&M is going to play this year? Because I think Tennessee, Auburn, sorry. Like the whole thing sucks.
I was about to say,
like the moment, like, the hardest part, and then you look like, this can change. They're all good. Because I think Arkansas's not even ranked right now.
No, they're not,
and they're pretty good.
I know,
right? Like the whole thing is just hard.
The rankings are going to change because the SEC, just like what we used to say in football, and what we still say in football is the conference cannibalizes itself because they're so good night in and night out, and you're going to lose to some teams, and then that's going to change the rankings up. That's what's going to happen this year. But if you just go on where these teams started at ranked when conference started, you have the number 1 team, the number 2 team, the number 5 team, the number 6 team, number 12 and 13 team, the number 17 team. And then if you keep going past that, it was 26, 27, 28, 35, and 40. If you count getting votes. Like that's when conference started. And now that everybody's going to beat each other up in conference, the numbers are going to change, but there's no night off.
Yeah.
There's no night off.
Well, how long can they weather the storm without Wade, do you think?
I don't think we want to find out against Alabama.
But you also don't want to bring him back too quickly. I don't know what he has. I'm speculating what he has. But if it is a strain anywhere, you got to let that heal, because if not, it's going to linger, right?
Look, I would, my guess, and this is just what I think is, my guess is that this is growing, and it's tweaked, and it can linger. And I was on Louis' show earlier this week saying, you got to take care of it now. That's just like a high ankle sprain. If you don't let it heal, it will nag the entire season, and then when it comes time for March Madness, you're going to play harder. You're going to be more beat up and more tired. And then you're really going to hurt it, and you're not going to be able to play at all. Like, it's just going to keep going. So you've got to take care of it now, even if that means taking a loss or two because your best player is out. You've got to make sure that that thing is healed, because if he has to deal with that, and if it makes him a step slower or doesn't allow him to condition as much, he's not going to be healthy the entire year, and you're going to see that.
Logan, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll talk to Coach Henry on the other side. Right now, we're talking Bird Dog, an Aggie-owned company operated, creating access to hunting opportunities. They are an Airbnb for hunting. They make it easy for the landowners to get more hunters and make more money on their ranches. In fact, I heard from John a little while ago, who's reaching out to the good folks there at Bird Dog, because they're going to take care of you. They still all do all those things, but right now they're also helping make money thanks to Bird Dog's efforts when it comes to taxes, right? They're not just getting folks on their land. They're helping landowners aggregate tax benefits. We all know about ag exemptions and wildlife, but there are many other opportunities out there. If you have farming or running cattle on your land, Bird Dog's going to optimize and find you the tax benefits. Some of their clients are making $100 to $500 per acre of land. They can be your personal consultant and help you maximize income on your land. So remember Bird Dog for all of your full-service hunting experiences. And remember that they're going to help you get money on your land. The website is birddogit.com, birddogit.com. Welcome back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It's time for our weekly conversation with track and field head coach Pat Henry here on TexAgs Live. And this is brought to you by the Brazos Running Company, your local Aggie-owned specialty running store where you can save 10% in-store when you mention the code TexAgs. Check out that great new location at Century Square. Coach Henry, I gave you a hard time. It's been a minute, though.
It's been a long week.
You didn't know the studio.
No, I had no idea you had a new studio.
What do you think?
It looks really nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, it's big.
Yeah,
which is nice. You can bring a few people in this.
We should do it. We should do it. How are you feeling about things?
Yeah, good.
Good.
We've been training since it never stops, but we've been training as a group, starting the first day of class. So, it's been training all the way through. Now it's fun to start getting going.
So this weekend we've got the McFerrin. Is it the 12-degree Invitational?
12 degree.
And explain the 12-degree.
Well, 12 degree is the bank degree of the bank on the track, on the turns. And if it's above 12 degrees, like it's 12.5 degrees, it's an illegal track. It has to be 12 or under. So we're trying to educate people that the Arkansas track, our track, any major track in this country has got to be 12 degrees. It can't be any more than that. Some people try to sell their track as the best or the fastest in the country because of this or that. No, it's who you put on the track. It's not the track. So 12 degrees is the max, and that's what we're trying to educate people to that.
It's going to be great this weekend. Kind of, how many teams do we have coming in? I know we have a bunch.
Yeah, no, we only have about 8 or 9 schools. That's a bunch for us right now. Remember, this facility has only been used a little bit for competitions, and we only had about 4 or 5 schools at each one of those competitions last year. We're kind of breaking new ground right now, and it's going to be a real challenge for us. And it looks like it's going to be very cold. So the outdoor track we use as warm-up for the indoor track. If it's really cold, it really puts a quietus on some things.
Right.
So, but we also are using the football building for warm-up and for getting the motors going. So, and we'll run shuttles back and forth between the 2 buildings. Always in the past we had 2 buildings that were side by side.
Right.
And so that could accommodate almost anything we want to do. Now we can accommodate anything we want to do. It's just going to take some coordination between
logistics to it.
Yeah, it takes some coordination, and we have a football coach that's very receptive to
Is he?
You bet he is.
It's great to hear.
Yeah, and he's for a dual sport guy. If we can find a dual sport guy, and that's a good thing.
So I'm reading from the press release: Arizona State,
Yep.
Baylor,
Yep.
East Texas A&M,
Yep.
North Texas,
North.
Tennessee,
Yep.
UTRGV.
Yep. And TCU backed out.
Okay.
They think the roads are going to be too bad between here and Dallas, and they didn't want to take a chance. That's kind of ridiculous, but that's what happened.
Yeah. What is the latest with weather in this area? I mean, it's going to be raining all day, but it's not going to be freezing, right?
No, I don't think it's freezing, but if it's raining, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Tell me some names that we need to be looking out for.
Well, I mean, we have our returning group, Ahmad Robinson, and we have all of that returning group from last year. We didn't lose many people, but let's see what happens right now. Let's wait. Let's see who does it. We've got some new ones that I think are going to be big contributors for us. We can't get everybody started this weekend. Like Jaqueline Scott, who's the best hurdler in the country. But if there's just the sense, if there's anything that's a little bit off with him, I won't run him until it's time to run.
Right.
Because you just can't take those chances.
You feel good about where you are to get started, though?
Yeah, because of the numbers that we have back from last year. We have two great half milers back. We've got really good quarter milers back on both sides. So I will say this. I feel a little bit better about our men's team than I do our women's team right now.
Okay.
Our women's team is going to be fine. It's just going to take us longer to be there. We're a little bit younger on the women's side. We're a little bit more mature on the men's side, so there may be some things happen a little bit earlier on the men's side.
There's some high school festivities also.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Anytime we open the door, we have great interest in coming to A&M. So we have a high school meet on Saturday. We regulate how many people are in each event. This is the first time we've done this, and the reason we are is because we don't have that other building right there. And we're experimenting with what we can do right now. We don't know what we can do. But just to tell you the interest, we had over 5,000 young people want to enter this track meet.
Wow.
But we only take a certain amount per event. So just because you entered it doesn't mean you got in it.
Sure.
It's the first time we've done that. I would like to, run a schedule where we can have as many in there as we can possibly do. But we're going to regulate it this time.
So what a great opportunity for them to run at a first-class facility.
Yeah.
And also to showcase Texas A&M.
Yep. And all of these high school kids are not all track people all the time. They run track, but they may be they're football guys. They're volleyball players. They're whatever, but they're working on speed. They're working on whatever, because track is a conditioning sport for a lot of people too.
Right.
But it's a great environment. When that building is full over there, it's really loud, and so people who have not come to a meet, once again, I try to encourage people to come to a track meet. If you come once, I think you'll come back.
Before I let you go, Dion Lindor Memorial. Talk
Yeah.
to us a little bit about that. Very decorated, passed away 2 to 3 years ago, I believe, in a tragic car accident.
Yeah, and Dion was one of my volunteer assistants at that time, and he'd been with me for 10 years probably. Dion is probably one of the finest athletes we've ever had here in track and field, and he's he's 3-time Olympian. He's big time, and so we have a memorial that we're introducing for him. I've got his mom coming in, and we're going to have a little ceremony for it right as we start the national anthem. And the quarter now will be the Dion Lindor 400 meters.
Coach Henry, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
No.
We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
I think usually it's going to be on Tuesdays, or
Is
is it
it?
Wednesdays? Sorry, Wednesdays, I think is what we decided. But whatever you need to do, we do, all right? Thank you, Coach. Appreciate
Thank you very much.
We'll hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we'll talk a little college football with Chris Gordy. Right now, Fratella Italian Cafe, they are serious about giving you the most delicious Italian food in the area, made with love, fresh pasta, golden fried breadsticks, awesome lasagna, famous cheesecake. Also proud partners of A&M Athletics, sharing passion for food and Aggie fans everywhere. If you can't make it to Fratella, no problem. They ship their products nationwide, so you can enjoy them from the comfort of your home. You can find them every Saturday at the Memorial Villages Farmers Market in Houston. They're owned by the same family that opened Pino's in Houston, and proud to carry on that same tradition of giving the best Italian food in the area. It is Fratella, all about good food and great company. All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. As a reminder, the final segment of the show is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150 will hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. We go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. We're joined by Chris Gordy. Gordy, I know I'm 5 minutes late for you. I'm sorry. I think you got to be on air soon. Good morning, buddy.
No, it's all good, man. Good to be on.
Hey, so because I believe this talk about the SEC's reign is over is a little dramatic considering last year Georgia was left out of the playoffs and they should have been in. I think they beat Michigan. They had a down year this year. Big Ten had a really good top-heavy year, but I still think the meat of the SEC is significantly better than the Big Ten. I know we saw the bowl games didn't kind of reflect that in some cases. All that being said, where are you on the SEC and their dominance?
Yeah, I always tell people be careful with the takeaways from the bowl games because, look, I mean, South Carolina was in a dogfight with Illinois. Nick Emanwari, their stud safety, opts out of the second half of the bowl game. You can't tell me he would not have made a difference against Luke Altmaier and Illinois' offense in the second half. They go on to lose 21-17. Oklahoma, they score the game-tying touchdown in the final seconds against Navy. They decide to go for 2 in the win. They don't get it. You're telling me that 2-point conversion is the difference maker between the SEC being dominant and the SEC, oh, God, they suck because they lost a bowl game? So this is where it kind of gets, silly season to me. And I always tell people, consider the source when you start hearing people say, the SEC's dying. The first person I saw doing it was Joel Klatt. No offense against Joel Klatt. I like him a lot, but he works for Fox and he covers, they do the Big Noon kickoff. They cover all the Big Ten games. Of course, Joel Klatt's going to talk up the Big Ten and talk down the SEC. People were berating Kirk Herbstreit and a lot of the ESPN guys for going to bat for the SEC. Yeah, it makes sense. They've seen them the most. They do their games. Almost every ABC primetime game on Saturday nights this year was an SEC game. Sorry, it's where the best is. Look at the TV ratings of the top 10 college games this year. Almost all of them were SEC games. So, I think it's a little bit over the top. Nicole Auerbach, who works for NBC now, who was on the pregame for Notre Dame fans, shocking. She was saying the SEC is dying. So it's just like I said, consider the source. David, the facts remain. 13 of the last 18 national champions have come from the SEC. If Texas wins it this year, yes, I know they're the new foe, new rich, whatever. But if they win it, that's 14 of the last 19. We need to stop with this silliness of, the SEC is not the most dominant conference anymore. They are. You're going to tell me the Big Ten is, okay, great. Penn State and Ohio State are awesome. We're just going to ignore the rest of the crappy Big Ten? We can't just ignore all those bottom dwellers that suck. So to me, it's a little bit over the top.
Would you agree, though, that the SEC this year felt down? There wasn't Texas had a really nice year, but there wasn't this dominant feeling like this team is a juggernaut. And teams played below expectations. Ole Miss probably played below expectations. Alabama, even with a new coach, played below expectations. A&M played above expectations until the end of the season. Then they played well below their new expectations. LSU below their expectations, right? The SEC overall this year was down.
Well, I think the tough part with that argument is if you have one dominant 12-0 team and everybody else is below them, that's not the sign of a good conference. It means you have one awesome team. To me, we saw more parity in the SEC than we've seen ever. I mean, the fact Vandy can go from going winless in the conference to going 6-6 and winning a good bowl game against Georgia Tech, to me, there was way more parity in the SEC. And I kept saying this, you're going to add Texas and Oklahoma. Not everybody's going to get better. You're going to get worse. You're going to have more losses on your schedule because you just added 2 behemoths to the conference. And so I think top to bottom, the SEC was as good as it's been because anybody could beat anybody on any given Saturday. To me, that's the sign of a good conference. People would say, oh, well, it means they all suck because they're just all, they're all, around 500. No, I just think that means your conference was really good. And you look around and, we had really good quarterback play this year in the conference from top to bottom. And so, okay, there have been years where Georgia or Bama's been 12-0. That didn't mean SEC dominance. That just meant Bama dominance or Georgia dominance to me. So, and look, I don't think it's going to get any easier next year. Look at all the quarterbacks that are coming back next year. All the moves to the transfer portal. Last time I checked, David, I think it's 7 of the top 10, recruiting classes are all from the SEC, and 7 of the top 11 best transfer classes right now are from the SEC. Yep. The best talent's coming here. Watch the draft in a couple weeks. They're going to once again lead all conferences and most players drafted, most first round picks. It's where the best football is played. And look, I think we may be moving on from those days of having those 12-0 teams coming out of the SEC.
It is Around College Football, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more, millikenreserve.com. Gordy, let's break down the games this weekend. Ohio State, Texas. What's your gut tell you for this weekend?
I keep going back, and look, I'm trying to take my SEC glasses off, but I think Texas is more battle-tested. Like, when you look at some of the games they've been in, I think they needed that game against Arizona State, because what was it, 24-8 going into the fourth quarter? Like, Texas should have put their foot in their neck and pulled away. The fact that they let Arizona State come back, go to overtime, you have the 4th and 13 pass from Quinn Ewers, then you win it in double overtime. I think that's the kind of game that could give you some confidence going forward, going, look, there is no situation Friday night that we can't handle. On the flip side, Ohio State, look, congrats. They've played better than anybody through their first 2 games, dominant wins, but that A plus B doesn't equal C. Like, just because they've won 2 dominant games already doesn't mean they're just going to go out and dominate on Friday night. I remember it was a month ago we saw that team look like crap against Michigan and lose 13-10 at home. So that Ohio State team is still somewhere in there. I just think this is the best defense that Ohio State's going to see all year. This Texas defense is playing with a lot of confidence. That secondary, Makuba, Taff, I mean, those guys are playing with their hair on fire. To me, it comes down to Quinn Ewers. Can he protect the football? Can he make smart decisions? Can he, not throw stupid interceptions like he's prone to do at times? If he does that and Texas can get back to their dominant run game, which they've kind of been missing a couple of games here lately, I think Texas is going to be in this game. Although, everybody I talk to is like, oh, Ohio State's going to run away with it. Don't discount this game is in Dallas. I know Ohio State travels well, but there's going to be probably 65 to 70% Texas fans in that stadium.
Gordy, where I may argue a little bit there is I think Texas doesn't have that killer DNA, because even though they dominated A&M, if you make a 4th and 1, you're in that game, right? You have a chance to win as poor as you played. Clemson had a chance at the end of the Clemson game. Arizona State, you could say, was robbed of the targeting call and an opportunity to win. They came back when Texas was just rolling on them. So they are missing that DNA at the end of games. Yes, they won. I recognize that. Ohio State's a different animal if they get going.
They are, and look, they found out their bread and butter, right? You got 2 of the best receivers in the country, Jeremiah Smith and Ibuka. Like, yeah, get them the football right. Who knew that could work? Get the ball to your best playmakers. But I do think Texas has the secondary to slow them down. And so, look, to your point, has Texas, played with fire a couple times here and there? Yes, but to me, I look at David, how many goal line stops have they had now? I mean, where a team is going, they get to the goal line, they're about to punch it in, and 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, 4th down, Texas comes up with the stop. To me, that's just the hallmark of a defense that gets confidence. And it's like, it's like they get going when they get those kind of stops. And so, again, we'll know very early. Ohio State has jumped out to big leads. Both games they've played already. We'll know very early on Friday night how this one's going to go.
Notre Dame, Penn State. It's so weird because both of these teams are like, people haven't really taken them that serious. One of these 2 teams is going to be in the national championship. And I don't know, man. Marcus Freeman he doesn't have a very long track record, but he certainly does impress me.
He's been very impressive. I've had some people, there's been some naysayers on Brian Kelly saying, oh, well, Brian Kelly, well, our buddy Matt Moscona is kind of funny. He said the other day, yeah, well, he hasn't gotten further than Brian Kelly got at Notre Dame, which is kind of funny because this is the first iteration of the 12-team playoff. So in one sense, yes, he's won 2 playoff games. In the other sense, he's only gotten as far as Brian Kelly got at Notre Dame. In fact, Brian Kelly got to a championship game in the BCS era. So, you could argue he got further. I also look at this. He's playing with a loaded deck. It's not like the cupboard was bare when Brian Kelly left. He handed him the keys to Ferrari, and Marcus Freeman has sustained that success, and he's put together great recruiting classes. And obviously they go get Riley Leonard in the portal, and that's worked out very well. So, color me shocked, because I thought Freeman was maybe going to be a little bit in over his head. I just thought, being a young guy, like, your first head coaching job is Notre Dame. Like, you don't start at Notre Dame. You go coach at Cincinnati and you work your way up. But no, it's been fantastic. And I talked with Mike Denbrock last week in New Orleans for Media Day for the Sugar Bowl, and he said, Chris, honestly, our offense hasn't had to do much. He goes, go look at Riley Leonard's passing games. He's got like 4 200-yard passing games this year. They beat Georgia throwing for what, like 70, 80 yards? Like, their defense is so opportunistic. They get stops and get them the ball and get turnovers, give them short fields where the offense really doesn't have to do much for Notre Dame. So I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting because you got Penn State with the two-headed rushing attack, which has been dominant all year. And then you got Notre Dame that runs the football at will. Leonard will tuck it and run it when he needs to, fight for those tough yardage. So this one feels like a low-scoring game, and whoever turns the ball over, first is probably going to lose the game.
Gordy, great stuff, brother. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, David.
See ya. Chris Gordy there. iHeartRadio, a Locked On SEC. The guy is just a wizard when it comes to SEC sports. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with a short open segment, then the fun show. All right, right now we're talking about Heritage Films. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website. They make documentary films about your families. So if you're, let's pick somebody. Let's pick your mom this time. I always pick the dad. Let's pick the mom. Your mom's got a cool story? Of course she does. It's not if. She definitely does. We all have cool stories. Let Chance and his team tell that story in a documentary form, 2-hour movie that you and your family are going to be able to cherish for a long, long time. Have Chance tell the story. He's a very creative guy. He's done Broadway musicals. He started radio stations, done some movies. Now he does Heritage Films, and all his best friends are like 80 years old because he loves people with stories. And the older you are, the more stories you have. And Chance loves hanging out with his clients. His crew travels all over the country, and they are fantastic. The website is YourHeritageFilm.com. YourHeritageFilm.com. 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341. Coach Henry reminds me, or tells me, that during this meet this weekend, first responders race is going to be happening, a great watch and a great relay. So certainly you want to go check out the first responders relay. All right, we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Anything, Kalita?
Yes, we have a text, and it said, I knew we had the game after the Hefner steal and assist to Solo.
Solo and the hang on the rim. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of agreed with that.
Yeah.
Yep. That's when they started when they got it down to 6 and 8, I was like, we're gonna win this freaking game. That's
Yeah.
what we do. All right, we were gonna hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Live, a bunch of knuckleheads in studio. Right? Matt Browning's gonna be here, Sutton Turner, and Philip Vargas. We'll do the fan show presented by Prize Picks. We'll get to more of your text messages and analysis. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are back on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the
Fan Show.
Brought to you by
Everyone's
Prize
favorite.
Picks.
Everyone's favorite show.
You know what? I think people, when we don't do a fan show, people complain. When we do a fan show,
People complain. Yes, that's right.
it's just the way it is.
That's awesome.
Go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play in $5 lineups. I'm going to work my way left to right, which would be on your screen the opposite, right? Philip Vargas, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How are y'all
Been
today?
a year since you've been on the show?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah?
You get out of the fog of all the important stuff, and then you call me up.
Well, you're here to do it. Sutton, how are you, buddy?
Doing great.
Been about a month?
Yeah, last month.
Browning's been about 12 minutes?
Yeah, seems like it.
How are you, buddy?
Man, I'm fantastic. Hey, I got to do a little housekeeping here real quick.
Do your thing.
To the guy I'm trying to buy tickets from for on the game, all right? If you have a 512 area code, they don't always believe you, you know.
Right.
So I am an Aggie, all right?
Which game are you trying to buy?
For Bama.
Okay.
So I'm trying to buy tickets from this guy, so I told him I'd give him a shout out just to prove that
What's
I'm
his
an Aggie.
name?
I don't know.
He's
I
just a guy.
I just have a telephone number, and
Okay.
but I found him on the boards on the ticket exchange.
Yeah.
And so
Just go ahead and say his number. We'll all text him.
yeah. Everybody text. No. I want these tickets. So y'all stay away from
979-989. I'm kidding.
No, so y'all stay away from. But hey, that is. I get it too, because that's. I mean, y'all buy stuff on there. Y'all ever bought tickets on
I
ticket exchange?
don't spend money.
No, I sell my tickets on there.
Yeah, and so the amount of fraud and stuff that goes on there is insane to me.
Oh yeah.
And the amount like
Are people fraud?
Yeah, no, I mean there's
Or like fakies get in there?
no, there's fake accounts that go in there, and there's fraudulent accounts. But also the opposing fan bases have found out that hey, this is a good place. It's way better to buy tickets here because you're not spending the fees and stuff that you do on StubHub and the others, right? So they've figured out to go into TexAgs Ticket Exchange, and so I mean a lot of those tickets for the Texas game got sold to Longhorn fans.
I did
through
not know
TexAgs
that. So we need
Ticket
to have a
Exchange.
meeting about a meeting. All right.
The guys that run that board, they know everything.
know?
They know everything, and everybody in there talks. But it's a great place to buy and sell tickets. Just you got to be careful of the fraudsters and the opposing fan bases.
Yeah.
But
You know what I say to that?
what?
Punch and move on.
Yeah.
Punch and move on. Philip Vargas, what is on your mind this morning?
I had a fun game last night. A little later than I was planning to stay up, but I did, and it was a lot of fun. And then high school soccer kicking off tonight, so that's going to be brutal.
Yeah, Philip and I will be at Consol for a tournament this weekend in the rain, and it's not going to snow, so we're just going to be wet watching Christian Cruz and
wet
Adrian
and
Vargas
cold.
play.
Yeah,
Wet and cold.
uselessly cold.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun. Sutton, what's on your mind?
With Noah transferring, I was at Gabe Bach's office this week. We were talking about real estate investments.
Okay.
And we were talking about different real estate investments that I've been in over the past 30 years. And, you know, typically on a real estate investment, you have a sponsor that brings the real estate and tells you, hey, it's going to be this, and you're going to make this much money, and you're going to do all this. Paints a rosy picture, but generally it's pretty close. So I thought about that with Noah leaving. I thought about that 2022 recruiting class. And I thought about how out of the 30 kids, we only have 5 left. And Jimbo was that sponsor that was selling us Aggies a big pile of crap that unfortunately, I know all of us, we were all in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was so excited. But when you think about the quality of those kids that came in and what he did, Jimbo did to this program that Mike Elko had to fight through this year and next year, because you think with the 2022 class, all those guys that are going to be juniors, that's their best year. And if they're going to start, they're going to start beginning to play in their junior and play in their senior year. And we have no one except for Le'Veon Moss, and Bryce Anderson, basically, and Theo. Those are the 3 guys that actually play. But everybody else is gone.
Well, we actually did this exercise on the show not long ago. If you go through that list, how many of those guys exceeded expectations at A&M?
Shamar Stewart, probably. He's one of them. I mean, I think he met expectations.
He met expectations.
That's probably a
Yeah.
good way to put it. Yeah. He met expectations.
And I mean, he was a 3-year starter, right? So, or 2.5-year starter. So
he was good, but he
was
met
really good.
expectations.
He was really good.
And you think about, I'm going to list guys: Chris Marshall, P.J. Williams, Smoke Bowie, Denver Harris. I'll just say it because I'm a fan and I can say it. The quality of those young men, like they couldn't have stepped foot in Buzz Williams' team.
Right.
They couldn't even be a manager on that team. And to me, that's why I think when we talk about cultural change, I think we faded during the end of the year. Yes, but what Elko is having to rebuild without 25% of the recruiting classes that he had, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think he did a phenomenal job this year. I'm disappointed we lost those games down the stretch. Yes, but I feel like that we're heading in the right direction. And he, unlike Jimbo, is a sponsor that's being honest with us.
Right.
I feel like he is being honest with you guys on those press conferences. He's answering those questions. I mean, obviously, he's going to do like RC. He's not going to say everything, but he's good. He's not going to lie to you.
Sure.
And I feel like that is so important as we go into this offseason.
Mateo, what's on your mind?
Well, just to piggyback on that real quick, I always try to find the bright side, right? If there is one bright side to that 2022 class, it's that it can be done here. It's just been proven that it can be done here. We can recruit at the absolute highest level. So I think that will 10 years from now, 15 years from now, people will, if we're in another coaching search, that may be something that goes, it can be done there. They can recruit at the absolute highest level. They can recruit better than with anybody else in the country. So they've got enough to offer there that we can recruit there. But what's on my mind is basketball. And how good, see, I was thinking about this morning. How good, and people gripe, and the boards drive me nuts sometimes with people griping about Buzz and Buzz Ball and all that. But my gosh, think about the coaching job he did last night, right? You go into a hostile environment. Oklahoma is, I mean, I know they're not a giant basketball school, but they're a decent program through the years, right?
Yep.
But they're playing in their first ever SEC matchup, ever.
At home.
At home, yeah. Their first ever at-home SEC matchup in an electric crowd against a team that was absolutely on fire. That kid, Good eye. Was, I mean, he had a good eye last night.
Didn't he?
I mean, he went completely goes off. You get way behind, and you're all this without your star player.
Yeah.
And to just kind of slowly just chip away. They never got down. There were times where I was like, it's over.
I had to walk away for a minute.
Yeah. That alley-oop, I remember we got back to within like 12, and then they get an alley-oop, and they come down here to 3, and you're back down 15, and you're like, oh my gosh. All right, man, there goes. But then they just kept chipping, and they never stopped.
Yeah.
That is so fun to watch. I promise you, though, I will say this. If I was an opposing fan and watching that A&M team, teams that get those offensive rebounds are just absolutely gut-wrenching.
That's what you're thinking.
Just come on. Are you kidding me? I mean, just to have a team just chip away, and they're so annoying on defense. And as a fan of the team that's like that, it's just the best.
Yeah.
It is so fun to watch this team. And for Phelps to come out in the absence of Wade Taylor and step up the way he did and absolutely take over that game in the second half was just insane. It was one of the most fun. That was one of the more fun basketball games I've seen in a long time just because of the circumstances. Your back's against the wall. You're on the road. You're down to a good basketball team. Oklahoma is not a bad basketball team.
Top 20 team.
Yeah. But they were absolutely.
Their freshman is amazing.
They were absolutely on fire last night. They're at home. They're on fire. We're without our star player, and we still somehow pull out the victory. That's how good this basketball team is. And I love it. It's so fun to watch. And I mean, that and the number 1 ranking in baseball.
That's pretty good times.
Hey, you know what? I mean, football, but the rest is going to be a fun year.
Well, one of the things that look, there's going to be some hard times this season for basketball because of the schedule.
God, so rough.
And hopefully Wade is not out for too long. But I mean, you look at this situation this week alone, over the next week. Bama, number 5, you host them. Then you go to number 6, Kentucky. LSU's never easy. Then you're going to go at number 23, Ole Miss. Then you go to Texas, right? Then Oklahoma comes here. Like, guys,
Texas is our easiest game in the next month.
But from a talent perspective, I don't know.
Texas is still, they're still
and
a good team.
they came back against Auburn a couple nights ago, made that a game when they were down by 24, and they had their chances.
If you look at it, Tennessee got beat by 30. Number 1 team in the country got beat by 30. I mean, that's how good this league is.
So
I still think Auburn's the best team, though. They're unbelievably good.
The older you are, the higher you hold old school teams, right? I'm still going to hold the Billy Clyde era as the best era of basketball that I was fully invested in. I've watched some pretty cool eras, but like I was at most of those games, right? How close to that team is this team, Philip?
I mean, it's got to be close with Wade, and that's going to be a big big if going forward because, I mean, he just brings so much to, getting the offense moving. Last night it kind of stammered here and there. They kept chipping away. They were always there. But he's going to have to be, get himself right, which I know doesn't just happen. I mean, it's a groin. You don't just kind of come back from that. So, if we can get him healthy and back in the lineup, that's what's going to be that gets us into that discussion. Otherwise, there's just going to always be that what if.
I think Logan Lee agrees with me about the Billy Clyde years being the ultimate team. I just got a text from Logan. He said, preach on, baby.
Of course you did.
Sutton, success in the postseason is going to determine where we look at this team.
Yep.
But they certainly do feel like a team that can do that.
Well, because they're so old.
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking about Buzz, and so he spent 6 seasons at Marquette, 5 seasons at Virginia Tech, and this is his 6th season here. Each one of those teams, when he went at Marquette, there were 2 Sweet 16s and a Elite 8. Virginia Tech was a Sweet 16 his last year. I think that this is a Sweet 16, if not an Elite 8 team. I just hope our administration realizes how Buzz builds teams, and it takes 4, 5, and 6 years to have these guys be bought in, to be guys like Henry Coleman and Got Solo that play a role, that know their role, that have those relationships.
Yep.
And I hope our administration will realize that and say, you know what, we need to keep Buzz here for a re-up next year. Because, I mean, we're going to have a massive rebuild next year, right? But it's going to be but if we'll continue to give Buzz those 4 and 5 year windows where he gets these quality people that are Aggies, that are bought into the program, that are going to be great people after school, like amazing. I hope we continue to do this. We allow him. He is the opposite of John Calipari. Like, Calipari can build a team for 1 year, take him to the Sweet 16. That's not Buzz, and that's okay. This is his formula, and I want us to continue to do that time and time and time again. I'd love to see Buzz here for 20 years, and for us to have, a Final Four appearance, a couple of 8 appearances, and many Sweet 16 appearances.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not just Calipari. I mean, anytime you see a non-traditional basketball school like A&M, you don't get those one-and-done guys typically, right? You've got to get these glue guys that hang around for a long time, and that's just kind of the way it is. The Dukes, the North Carolinas, the Kentuckys, the Kansases of the world. They're the ones that get that super high-end elite high school talent, comes in for a year, then leaves, right? So we don't typically get that sort of thing. But if you got with this rebuild and you have a good season this year, it'll make that easier. So I hope he's here for a long time. But yes, the Billy Clyde days were the best ones. You go back to before that. You had
Shelby Metcalf.
Shelby Metcalf.
Yeah.
I mean, the Holler House was amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I do remember that. Even during the Watkins days, you had Bernard King. You had some good players in there, and you've had some. We've had some really good teams in there in between. But yeah, I mean, you go back. You ask most people, they can tell you AC Law. I mean, AC Law. I mean, you look at the Mount Rushmore. I will say this though: the Mount Rushmore of Aggie basketball, right? And it's hard because most of us don't know the history before 2006, basically, of Aggie basketball. The Bernard Kings of the world, guys like that. But I mean, AC Law is the George Washington on the Mount Rushmore of Aggie basketball. Wade's on there though. I do think Wade's on there, and they kind of remind me of each other a little bit. The style, the tenacity, the savviness of them. So this team does remind me of that, but again, it'll boil down to postseason.
Yeah, they've got one NCAA tournament win in Buzz's era.
Right.
He's got to triple that.
Yeah.
We need to get we need to see this team get, and I think they're. It's all about matchups. 'Cause, I was having a conversation the other day with somebody about the Penn State game that but that was a bad matchup. For being a bad matchup, and also A&M was misseeded. I recognize that.
And not only that, Penn State in that game went absolutely crazy. I mean, that's the one thing about the tournament is Penn State on that particular night, it didn't matter who they played. They were they were that hot. And you run into a hot team, I mean, that's how a 16 seed will beat a 1 seed from time
unfortunately,
to time.
that happens, though, sometimes with that kind of defense. Their defense is great, but if a guy gets hot, when you are this kamikaze style, that's how Goodine can find 6 threes in the first half.
But
10 total.
But us being ranked right now so early at number 9 really can help us on down the line. In the past, during this phase of our season, we had lost to Wofford or we had done something and we weren't even sniffing the top 25. Now we're in the top 25. If we can stay in that top 25, our argument for being a better seed will be better than what it was in the past that we got hot at the end and we got hot in the tournament. And so you need to look at that. No. Most of the time it's already decided before that takes place. Now we're in a different conversation. We're on big time SEC network games. People are seeing our games. Everybody's going to talk about that win last night. This is a different situation with us, I think, as we get to the tournament.
By the way, John Rothstein yesterday, and I started the show with this, tweeted that A&M is a dark horse Final Four team, Philip. Long way to go for that, but getting those kind of props, to me, just shows you the level that this team, that national pundits that know the game, believe they can reach.
Yeah, one of the things that's different to me that helps us get to that point is that so far it seems like this team can score better than the past teams, right? Because and that's something that we have texted about over the years, where our guys are tough, they're in shape, they're strong, they're going to play hard, they're going to play defense till the end, but they've never just been really good at scoring the basketball,
right,
which gets key at some point. And for whatever reason, so far this season, this team seems like they're going to put get it in there. Other than OU having the greatest defensive game they've had in their program's history last night, right? So that's going to be something that, as silly as it sounds to say that scoring is important, A&M teams just classically haven't done that.
Right.
And this year they're going to do it as long as we keep it up, and then it just only gets better if Taylor's there too.
Yeah, and if Wade can come back and you can move Zoo over into the boots role, where I saw a couple of times last night where he would drive and he reminded me just of Boots, like going up strong, like getting fouled, going to the line, like that same. And if I agree with you, if Wade can come back and we can have that two-headed snake, our team is a different team.
Who's been to Varsity Grill House here? You been there?
Been there.
Yeah. What'd you get?
You
don't remember?
I don't remember.
I got a burger.
Hammer.
I got a burger.
Burger?
Yeah.
We'd like some brisket tacos.
Philly
that were
cheesesteak.
pretty
I got
awesome.
Philly
cheesesteak.
Yeah.
I got the ribeye tacos. So good.
I think that's what I got.
Yeah, very good there at the Varsity Grill House. Perfect place to satisfy your food cravings. Hang out with friends. It's almost lunchtime. Maybe that's the place you need to go to for lunch. They have a vibrant atmosphere, mouth-watering dishes, sizzling burgers, the savory 4 Farm steaks. It is a great place to go get your desserts as well. And if you want to go watch sports or just take your wife on a nice date or take the family, awesome atmosphere there. Varsity Grill House creates unforgettable experiences for big events and small. From their signature dishes to custom menus, they ensure that every palate is satisfied. It's the Varsity Grill House. You're home for good times, great food. We hope to see you there. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, gentlemen, actually, before we get into some business, I need to do some other business. We're going to do this. We are going to give away, what are we giving away here? Is it, we'll do it in a moment. We'll do it in the next segment. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about iconic performances in Aggie basketball that you can think of. I didn't ask you to write down a little homework, but think of some moments. So yesterday's, we're going to remember Zerk Phelps's. Right? I think just last year, it's only a shot and it ended up in a loss, but I think we're all going to remember the Andy Garcia 3 against Houston. Didn't end the way we wanted it to, but that's an iconic moment. Yeah. You guys got some iconic moments to bring up?
I've thought about this. I got a couple.
Okay.
So one of my favorites was Daniel House in that. I mean, my gosh. He and Caruso both were amazing in that comeback, the Northern Iowa comeback. I mean, Daniel House had games that were just massive, but the big one I thought of was there was a Josh Carter game. I don't know, probably maybe 2009, 2010, if he was still here then. Yeah, he would have been.
Would he have still been there? Maybe 9.
Maybe 09. Somewhere in there. It was the post-AC Joseph Jones, Kavalauskas days, Dominic Kirk. Oh, I love that team. That team was so fun. But yeah, so you had
Marlon Pompey was on that team.
Yes, dude, that's so good. But yeah, Josh Carter had a game. I think he had a similar game to like what Good I had last night. I don't think he had 10 threes in this game, but he had like 7, 8 threes, and he was just on fire. So I can't remember the game who we were playing. For some reason, I want to say Nebraska, but I'm not completely sure. But either way, that's one of the ones I remember that was really fun.
Sutton?
Yeah, honestly, most recent history, my favorite player has been Josh Nebo.
Okay.
I was a big Nebo fan. One, I loved his defense, and I loved how hard he played, and I loved him in the low post, and I thought he was undersized, and he was kind of like fighting through that. So there's several, basically, games that year that I went to, especially some of those midweek games, that he just fought like heck. And so that was my favorite player. And so, to me, my favorite player, he had several games that were like that.
DeAndre Jordan was a lot of fun to watch. That little span we had him too, and so that's not to go with the obvious, AC, but he was incredible. I mean, it was kind of teetering on, watching, Durant play at the other school. DeAndre Jordan was. I mean,
he had a nice NBA career too, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
really
he did. He had that one player where he took off from like the free throw line in a game and like put it down. Like that's unbelievable to think about doing in a game.
I mean, that was the sickest dunk I've ever seen. Yeah. I've ever seen from an A&M player. I thought it was absolutely awesome. Then you've got the. I mean, that's how good AC was. That we all sat and tried to think of something other than AC.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's how good AC was. But I mean, you had Tyler Davis, who had some really good games in a great career here. And then you had, and my brain just went blank. He's the other Aggie other than DeAndre Jordan. That's
Chris Middleton.
Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chris Middleton.
Yeah. Chris Middleton was so fun in college too. He was just so
and he's doing well too.
Quiet. Yeah. He was such a quiet player that you forget how good he was here.
Yeah.
So,
but his NBA career has surpassed what I thought he was going to. He has been so.
Sure. I mean, he's the highest paid Aggie in the NBA history.
Right.
I mean, he's gotten giant contracts. He has been. I mean, he gets overshadowed on that team just because he played with
the Greek Freak.
The Greek Freak. Thank you. I don't pay attention to the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
I'm off the NBA. But
before we hit a break, I want everybody's opinion on this. Where are you confident next year in A&M football? And where are you not confident? And I want to see how similar our answers are. Browning, start us off.
Golly, the running back room looks pretty darn solid. I mean, if as long as Le'Veon comes back healthy, I think from a running back standpoint, I think we're looking really, really good. O-line, the fact that we haven't gone and got anybody in the portal for the O-line gives me hope that they're feeling really good about what they've got. Not only the guys that we saw this year, but the guys that are coming up.
Sure.
But the question marks are receiver. I mean, I think we've done what we need to do. We've gotten that talent in, but we thought we did really well last year too. And then of course D-line. D-line's the biggest question. Which is so funny because the D-line going into the season was the one where I was like, oh yeah, D-line's fine. Now I'm like,
Son?
Oh, so I'm not confident on the field. I feel like the program is heading in the right direction, for sure. I agree with 7 offensive linemen coming back that have all played significant minutes. That's massive. But if I remember back in those last 5 games, one of the things that killed us on our running game was very poor blocking from our tight ends. Very poor, especially 4th and goal. Absolutely whiffed. And so I look at, we've got Theo. That's it, except for transfers coming in. So that's a huge hole. And the fact that we ended the year not being able to cover the pass, and with huge holes on the defensive line, very much questionable. I think our offense is going to be better just because it's the next year. And I'm just hoping that it's kind of a situation where we've got a Buzz Williams types of culture that's going to be catching on with Elko, and that it's going to take average players like Hayden Hefner and have great moments that contribute on a team function to making a better team. That's what I hope. And by June, by SEC Media Days, I'll be slugging down the Maroon Kool-Aid. But it's going to be a while.
Felipe.
So it's definitely running backs, but I'll go a little more creative. I do like Marcel, and I like what he's doing, and I think he can be really good. But my downside is that we just don't give him the opportunities to go downfield, especially, against Texas. It was just, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards. And they're actually smart and figured it out, and wore us out the whole time. So, I think he can do a really good job, especially with his ability to move with our running backs, because we can establish a run game, and then he can run if he needs to, and then he's going to have guys open. But from kind of talking about program, we've got to give him the opportunities to do that, see how far he can throw at least once a game, just because we're going to have the running game to tag on to things.
I'll counter that. I don't think the receivers got the separation you need to be able to throw downfield. They brought in some speedsters, some playmakers. I would have loved for Noah to stay. And I think he actually threw a pretty deep ball. It was a nice deep ball. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We may get some more thans or less thans on the other side. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. When you're looking for a truck, medium duty, heavy duty, whatever, let them be the place that'll help you out finding that truck for you for those heavier jobs. They are going to take great care of you. Good pricing, great trade-in value, and just a place that you know that they're going to make sure that you get the deal that you need for your family when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're a proud supporter of Aggie Athletics, and they have a strong and committed sales staff with many years of experience satisfying customer needs. And they promise to treat their customers like family. We're talking about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell, short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountry.com. Welcome back in here as we're tracking our macros on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We are now going to play the Prize Picks game where we pick more than or less than. Callie Gardner is at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Basically, Callie, explain what you're doing here.
Basically, I'm going to give y'all a player in a game that's played tonight or tomorrow night for the college football playoff, and I'm going to give y'all more or less and a stat projection, and all you have to do is pick more than or less than whatever the said stat projection is. Super easy.
Super easy. Couldn't be easier.
All right, let's play the game, shall we?
We shall. Okay, we're starting with tonight's game, Notre Dame versus Penn State. We have Jeremiah Love, the running back for Notre Dame, more or less than 39.5 rushing yards.
Let me tell you, paint a picture. He's coming back from injury, right? He only had 6 carries for 19 yards against Georgia a week ago. He's expected to play, but I'm just sending you that information or giving you that information just when you make your pick.
Yeah, this is a tough one just because, I mean, he's I'm going to go less than just because I think, they'll probably be maybe try to be cautious with him, even though I don't know why you would. So, it's
do or die.
Do or die. So, but I'm still going to go less than, just feeling, that's where I'm feeling.
I'm 100% going more than because outside of the Georgia game, and Georgia's defense is salty, so is Penn State's. 98 yards against Indiana, 108 yards against Indiana, 99 against USC, 130 against Army, 137 against UVA. Give me more than.
I think this game is a very fast game. Both teams are going to run the ball. I don't think there's going to be a lot of turnovers. I think it's the first team to 20 wins. Kind of similar to Notre Dame's last game. I think more than because I think he's going to get the touches, and I think he's probably going to lay it all out there.
Yeah, definitely more than. I think they're gonna get the ball moving and get the clock moving and continue to just kind of run it down Penn State. The not getting a lot of yards out of Georgia is not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of to be expected. So I think he'll do fine tonight.
Okay.
Kelly?
We've got Amari Evans, the wide receiver for Penn State, more or less than 23.5 receiving yards.
So I wonder why we didn't do the tight end for Penn State. That kid is amazing.
Yeah, he is good.
He's really good. He's really, really good.
Tyler Warren.
Yeah, Tyler Warren. I'm going to go more than because that's a single catch for receivers. So who knows?
Less than. My reasons for it, to do the high voice, I don't have a real reason. I'm looking.
He just wants to go. He wants to do anything opposite of what I do.
Actually, 23.5. You're right. I was thinking in the 50s.
He's trying to catch up to me.
I'm just going to say I'm going to keep it less than.
Yeah, I'm less than. I'm very bullish on Notre Dame on this game.
Same, less than, just because I don't think that they're going to really generate a lot of offense tonight. So
he loves when it's
he's happy.
I like when I'm the only one that does it.
Okay, next one. Riley Leonard, the quarterback for Notre Dame, more or less than 0.5 interceptions.
Oh, he's going more than that. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, that's just the kind of player he is. He's big time game. He's gonna try to push it. I still think Notre Dame's gonna win, but I think he'll. This one interception. Just one interception. Yeah. All right. I'll go more than.
I'm going less than. He's got 6 on the year.
Yeah.
I think you also have to look at the team they're playing, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I also think they're going to try. Well, Penn State can stop the run too. I'm going to go less than.
Okay.
So if you look at the last game, to me, the key stat for Notre Dame winning was they had 0 turnovers, and Georgia had 2. I don't think that they have any turnovers tonight, and I think that that's one of the reasons why they win. So Riley Leonard will not, so it'd be less than on the interceptions.
I think they still win, but he'll throw one. He'll force something, one play downfield, and they'll give it up.
Okay. Tomorrow's game, the quarterback for Ohio State, Will Howard, more or less than 250.5 passing yards.
They're gonna. I hope Ohio State just absolutely just dusts them,
mutilates them.
I'm telling you, yes, just absolutely and I don't like Ohio State at all, but I'm telling you, if Texas played the Taliban, I'd cheer for the Taliban. So
I'm willing to. Yeah, I might be.
I would.
No, if they played Osama bin Laden University and Saddam Hussein was the starting quarterback for that team, I would be pulling for them and I would bet them.
Hey, their offense would be explosive.
I'm struggling with this one because Will Howard has thrown for over 300 yards the last couple games. But for the most part, he doesn't throw for 250 yards plus a game. But now they're going to their wide receivers. But Texas has a great secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Estoy struggling. But you know what? It's Texas. And I hate him. So let's go more than.
Okay.
More than. I can't do anything positive towards Texas.
Yeah, I think more than. He's a smart player, and I think they'll get plenty of yards on Texas.
Okay. Jeremiah Smith, their wide receiver for Ohio State, more or less than 85.5 receiving yards.
It's always going to be more than.
Yeah, that guy, my gosh, how good is he? Yeah. Holy smokes. Where do they keep getting these guys? Man,
they have
alive.
3 receivers that might be the best receivers in football.
Unbelievable how they keep doing it. It's crazy to me. So, yes, 100% more than. That guy is freaking amazing.
Yeah, I think he's the MVP. So, more than.
More than.
Felipe. Okay. I like it. Okay. Gunnar Helm, the tight end for Texas, more or less than 44.5 receiving yards.
All right. So, look, now, again, Taliban, yes. But this kid is really good. You got to give credit where credit's due. Even if he plays for Texas, the kid is good. And I think they're going to have to sling it around. Yeah. So, I will say more than on this one.
More than.
Okay. You do not have to say anything nice about Texas. You do not have to comment that he is anything but someone that suits up in the orange and white.
Yeah, but less than. I can also look at a guy and go, he's good.
I hope horrible things for the Longhorns.
I'm going to say less than, despite what I feel about Texas. I think he'll get some touches, but I think they'll be short yardage because I do think they're not going to do well against Ohio State, and I think he's going to be forcing us some short yardage stuff. So he'll probably get 43 yards.
So let me ask you a question on the Ohio State.
Yeah.
Which Ohio State team plays tomorrow?
I am betting on the team we've seen recently.
I hope so.
And I'm also betting on the Texas team we've seen recently, or all season long, who are very good. Obviously, they're one of the Final Four teams. They won in the SEC. Talk about the schedule or not, they got here. They deserve to be here based on what they've played. But I've seen them open the door to inferior opponents way too often.
Yeah.
And I think Ohio State, I think it was an OB who said it earlier. It's like the Jim Harbaugh moment where he figured it out. I feel like Ryan Day has figured it out.
See, I hope so, because dadgummit, man. The worst thing that could happen is for them to win this game. That would just
they'll win the national championship if they win this game.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
I totally agree.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine if Notre Dame wins and Texas wins? Can you imagine the build-up for Notre Dame versus Texas? And then you hear about it all the time. But I'm telling you, the worst part of this is that fact is that they win, and when they have success. Here's the reason: it's not just hatred. Right? It's not just, we're not just being haters. The fact of the matter is it's really bad for A&M from a standpoint of, with NIL dollars, their coffers get filled up, and they are going to, it's already been bad. They're going to pour money into their NIL. They're going to be able to outbid anybody out there, and especially if they keep winning. They win tonight. That just more money into the NIL. They make it to the national championship game and win that. We'll never hear the end of that. So no, this is not just us hating. It's to A&M's benefit for Texas, our direct recruiting opponent, to lose.
All right, we're gonna hit a break. I'm gonna show you guys a picture during the break, and we can laugh. Your car wash tradition with the friendliest staff and a personal touch. That is Aggie Land Express Car Wash. They are Aggie Land's first green car wash where they recycle 100% of their water. Their original location is the one in South College Station that I go to often, William D. Fitch behind the Shipleys in South College Station. The newest location is on Texas Avenue South in College Station across from the Planet Fitness. They have all the services you want, but the Texas Avenue location also offers a full-service wash where they take care of everything, and they have 3 levels of full-service wash there. So if you want to try a full basic wash, we're going to give a free one away at the new location at Aggie Land Express Car Wash. That is a $40 value. The first caller, 979-693-1150. Give us a call. We're going to help you win. Final segment of the program with the door open is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Quickly, Rollo Insurance. They are my insurance provider. Yours as well?
Absolutely.
They are awesome. Morgan's my guy. You can get your own personal agent by going to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Start a conversation, get your personal agent. 60 offices in Texas. They're all over the country now. But their headquarters is on Highway 6, and they are fantastic. The difference is real. They want to make sure that you're in the right insurance situation for whatever it may be. Remember, it is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Find your own personal agent today. And by the way, the name of the studio is Rollo Insurance.
Not only that, I'll tell you this, Morgan, it's like he's part of the team because I have all my business insurance through him. He's like he's part of the team. Like anything I need, I call him. Anything he needs, he calls me. We go.
Yeah. Each time I talk to him, he's like, "Hey, I saw you on Thursday on the Fan Show."
Yeah.
He's
Morgan is fantastic.
Right,
if y'all need somebody for real, call him.
I feel bad because I call him for random stuff like, "Hey, we got a flat tire." Okay, thanks, David. Hey, what does something sell at HEB? Like I just call him because he's so reliable. So.
He is. He's a good dude, for real. So.
I'm actually grateful to hear that because you used to call me for that kind of stuff.
Well, Morgan's the other guy. I mean, like every time I call him, he answers. Like 3 o'clock in the morning, he's like, "Yes, how can I help you, David?" All right.
David, you don't call me enough. You need to call me more.
Actually, I don't believe in calling any dudes. Typically, I'm a text. I don't dude-to-dude phone conversations. There's got to be a point. It can't be just a check-in.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Like if I were to call you, like, who died? Who died on the fan show? Right?
I'd be like, what's happening?
But if I text you, like, he wants to talk Aggie basketball or football or the fan show.
Boom.
Right?
I'm in. Love it.
But I'm not against phone calls. I call
when you
Phil
called me
sometimes.
about the shed that time, it was like, hey, I need some help.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what do you need? What, you okay?
I did need help building a shed, and Philip came right over. It took us 8 days, but we finally got it done. We did. And then Steve Nagley helped
You
finish
do
it.
know I'm a contractor. I could have come and helped.
Well, now you're getting the next call. Morgan and Matt Browning. Sutton, you're right down the road,
That's
too.
right, anytime.
And iDoc Mike's in town now, who takes care of my eyes. This is just an advertisement segment. Friends, shall we just quickly all tell who's going to win the games today, tomorrow? Notre Dame, Penn State.
I like Notre Dame. I think, hey, though, if James, one thing gets me is James Franklin. They always say he's never won the big game. Of course, he's won 2 good ones.
Yeah.
They didn't have. Now their run to this game is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
But this could be the one where he does. But I'm still going Notre Dame.
Yeah, this is Notre Dame. This is defense against really good defense. Low scoring game. First team to 20 wins, unless that there's some kind of fluky turnovers. But I think this is going to be a Notre Dame game. There's going to be a lot of punts. This thing is going to go fast. It's going to be a quick game, but Notre Dame wins.
Notre Dame because they beat A&M and we're clearly the best team in the country. So,
Except in November. Every other month we're really good.
Yeah.
I guess in December too.
You're going Penn State, aren't you?
No, I'm going Notre Dame.
Are you?
But I was going to say, I really like both coaches. I do. And by the way, I know it's taken him a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. When he's been there now 3 years.
3 years.
But those of you worried about Michael Early, hey, this is what Marcus Freeman did. I mean, he took over a program and not in the position that Michael Early is in, and has got them on the brinks of a national championship. Michael Early's got the number one team.
I will say, Marcus Freeman made them tougher. I mean, they are a tougher, hard-nosed, physical team. Brian Kelly was not that way at Notre Dame. He was more finesse. He had more finesse at that. And so I think that Marcus Freeman's going to be a juggernaut. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know why they haven't signed him to a longer extension.
And Michael Early already is a juggernaut, in my opinion. All right, Texas, Ohio State.
Oh, golly. Why do I feel nervous about this? I do. I feel nervous about this game. I kid you not. Obviously, I know who I want to win. That's easy, but I am still nervous. But I tell you what, I've been wrong. This is what you know what I'm going to do? I've been wrong all year.
We got like 12 seconds.
I've been wrong all year. I'm going to pick Texas because I want to be wrong so bad.
Okay, well, now we got our own soundbite. He's a Texas
fan. No, you want
Whatever.
me to do this. Every time I pick somebody else, I lose.
I don't think it has anything to do with it.
By 100.
Please.
By 100.
Ohio State, no doubt.
I actually lied. We have 20 seconds from now. I just had to say it because I felt like it was going like
Yeah, it was going to be a long one.
Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State wins the
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
agreed.
Please.
And I've got brother-in-law and brother-in-law in the finals because I had one and went to each.
That's going to do it for TexAgs Live. 5, 4, 3, 2. See you mañana.